Alright, welcome to Scratch. For those of you that missed the first day's lesson, I'm going to do a quick tutorial so that you can follow the steps and get caught up. So when you hit create, your screen looks like this. We have a cat here, which if we click on the I button for information about him, we can give him a name. I'm going to call him Felix the cat. And then I'll hit the back arrow to go out of that. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into the events button up here. And we're going to drag over the first one that says when clicked. So that means as soon as I click this green flag, something's going to happen. So what I want the cat to do is I'm going to go into the motion and I am going to choose go to mouse pointer. You see right down here. And I am going to drag that up so that when I click this flag now, I can see that he wants to follow, but he went right to it. So what I want to do is I want him to always go to it, not just once. So in the control section, I'm going to choose a forever, a repeating loop, which I want to put in there first. So now when I click that green flag, he's going to follow that mouse pointer around. And I can hit stop so that he stops doing that. Now the background's a little bit boring. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down here in the bottom and we see this choose backdrop from library. I want to go ahead and click that and I'm going to give myself a background. I think I'll just stick with a blue sky. And don't forget to hit the OK button once you've made your choice. Alright, so now I've got a background. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add in we need a bad guy in this story. So right now my cat's the good guy. I'm going to add in another character. So I'm going to go ahead and add in, I'm going to click on a new sprite. Okay, so I'm going to click there, I'm going to choose a new character. Let's see, what do I want to be the bad guy? How about this bat? Okay, you can scroll down and look at all the different ones, but I'm going to choose the bat. So I'm going to make sure I have a box around him, and I'm going to hit OK. Now I can see he's down there. I have an extra character. So as with any characters we add, we always need to go to events and have a starting point. So I'm going to drag that when clicked over again. Now I'm going to change the way my bat looks. He might be a little big, you might like that size, but we can always change the size. Now there's two options here. A lot of people get mistaken and choose this one. But I'm going to change by percentage. So I'm going to set my size to a percent. So I'm going to drag that one up. And I might just change him, make him a little bit smaller and try 85%. Now he doesn't change right away. I have to go and hit the green flag again to see that change in size. So I'm going to stick with that for now. I'm going to add another forever repeating loop. So I'm going to drag this one over again. And this time I want the bat to move. I don't just want him to sit there. So I need to add a motion. And I'm going to get him to move forward 10 steps. Now you can change this. You can maybe make him move less steps. If that's too fast, you can play with it later on. So it doesn't really make that much difference. We'll see what happens later on. But now if you watch if I hit play, he disappears. He goes off the screen. So the other motion that I want him to do is I want him to stop and bounce back when he hits the edge of the screen. So I'm just going to scroll to find that one. So if he hits the edge, we want him to come back. And let's try play again. But now when he bounces back, you'll notice he flips upside down, which is kind of weird. So what we're going to do to stop that is we're going to go into the I, the information about him. And you can see he's got a rotation where he's flipping. So instead of doing that, I'm going to choose the middle one. So he's just going back and forth. Okay, so I just click that one. And now if I press play, he's just going to bounce back and forth between the edges. Alright, now if I hit play and I move my cat around, I can go right through my bat, but we don't want that because he's the bad guy. He wants to stop it. So we're going to add in another coding line here. We're going to go into the controls again, and we're going to add an if variable. So I'm going to add that in underneath. So I want to say what happens if he touches my cat. So I need to add in the item there. So I'm going to go into the sensing options, and I'm going to choose touching. Now it says touching mouse pointer, which we're going to drag in there, but we can change that right here. So when he touches my Felix the cat, something has to happen. So in my controls, I'm going to say, well, if he touches the cat, game over. So now I can dance around the bat, but if my cat touches him, game over. Now it's not much of a game just to stay away from the bat. So we need to also add in some kind of way to keep score on what's going on. Now I can go out of my sprites and see what I have as my characters. So you can always go in and copy and paste your characters to have more than one. So to do that, I'm going to go up to, on your computer, I believe it's you're going to press the mouse pad with a two-fingered tap. Okay, just like I did, but obviously you can't see that. And we're going to go to duplicate. So now I've got two bats doing the same thing. So if I hit play, they're both going to go. But we don't want them both going at the same time. So we're going to change that up a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to stop that for a second. So, and I can change the size of the bats. Maybe the second bat I don't want quite as big. I can maybe make him smaller so we can see him shrink a little, just to give it a little bit of change. All right, what we're going to add next is we're also going to make, sometimes if your bad guy gets your character cornered, the game has a little bit of glitch where you can't move. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in a wait period so that he doesn't move right away. So we're going to choose wait. I'm just looking for it. There it is, the first one, and add that in at the top. So as soon as the game starts, he's going to wait. He doesn't need to wait a whole second. It can't hurt, but maybe just a half a second is good enough. So I might want to do that to both of them actually while I remember. There we go. Now, another thing that we're going to do is we're going to add a direction. Let's add a motion in here. So instead of just going back and forth, left and right, we're going to get them going off in different directions. So I'm going to look for one that says, where is it? Ah, there it is. Point in direction. Okay, I'm going to drag that underneath my sizing here. And I'm going to change this so I can make him go, right now he's just going left and right. We can also make him go up or down, or we can change that anywhere in between. So instead of just 90, let's try, see what happens at 135. Whoops, play. Now we can see him bouncing at different angles, just the one. The other one's still just going left and right. So I can change this one too and do the same thing. I can point him off in a direction. Maybe this one I'll point 50 and see what happens. And you can play around with the numbers. Oh, he touched my cat, so it's game over. So now I've got to get him out of the way and hit start all over and try to avoid these guys. Okay, so you can play around with the angles in the pointing and direction of your bad guys a little bit there. All right, so you can duplicate as many bad guys as you want and go in and change the directions that they're going to be bouncing around. You may also decide that you want it to go in a random direction, so you can change that too. You can go into the operators and have it choose randoms for you. So instead of telling it what to do, I can drag this into that and I can say, well, the most it can go is minus 79 and the highest it can go is minus 80. That's going to cover the whole square. So now I have no idea where it's going to go. So one of those ones, one of those bats is just going to randomly decide to go different spots. All right, so that's where we're at right now. So you can play around with those randoms as well, or add more characters. All right, so right now I've got a bad guy, my bats, I've got my good guy. I want to be collecting some points and get a score. So I'm going to add another new Sprite. Let's see, what shall I have him collecting? What can I have my cat collect? How about he wants to collect butterflies? Sure, why not? All right, he's going to collect butterflies today. That's a mighty big butterfly. So just as with anything, I need to tell it what to do. So for my start, let's always start with our events. And when the game starts, again, I'm going to want a controlling loop. But I think before I do that, actually, he's a little big. I'm going to make him smaller. So I'm going to choose my set size, and again, my percentage. Choose the percentage one. So looking pretty big, I'm going to try at 50 and see how big that makes him. There, now he's a little smaller. All right, so when the game starts, he's got his size. I'm going to add in my controls now. So I'm going to, again, add in a forever loop. And what I want to do then, let's see, I'm going to choose an if-then again. So I'm going to have my cat collecting these butterflies. So I want to say, well, if my cat touches it, we're going to get some points. So if I'm going to choose, I need to choose a sensing option. So if it touches, this time if it touches the cat, I am going to have it go to a random new spot where I will have to search for it and collect it. So to do that, I need to choose a motion. And I'm going to say have it go to a new location. And I want it to go to anywhere in the square. So I'm going to have it go from, I'm going to have it randomly go anywhere. So I'm going to choose, pick random into both of these spots. Oops, I want it to go in there. So I'm going to have it go from -200 all the way up to 200 on the x-axis, which is the most that it can do. And then on the y-axis, I'm going to drag that and also again have it pick a random. This time we'll go -150, off the screen there, to 150, positive 150. So now if I collect my cat, or sorry, if I got to go away from the bat first, so let's just get him away from there. Once I collect my butterfly, it'll go to randomly new spots, which I need to chase after. Okay, so I can do that, but right now, again, I have no score. I have to tell the computer that I want a score for that. So, and you can add a sound effect. Maybe let's add a sound effect first. So I'm going to say if I touch that butterfly, if I get him, I want some kind of sound to make. So I'm going to go into sounds, and I'm going to have it play a sound. So I'm going to drag that into, oops, I want to be on my, make sure you're on your reward here. So I'm going to say if it touches the cat, I'm going to play a sound before it goes off to a new random spot. So you can, right now it's just set for random, it's got one in there already. You can record your own, or you can go into sounds, and here you can choose from the library. So let's see, I can listen to different ones. We'll cheer. That one's a little bit annoying, so maybe I won't choose that one. I'll just choose this one for now. So when you pick the sound you like, make sure you click on it so that you get that box around it and hit OK. And now it's loaded back in. You can go back to your script and it should be there to choose from. in the list, on the drop-down list. So now when I hit play, every time I get them, there is a sound. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we want to keep score. So what we're going to do is we're going to start the score at 0. So again, if I touch the cat, we're going to get a point for that. So we're going to go to data on this one. And with data, we're going to choose make a variable. And we're going to give it a name. So you can call it points or score or whatever you want. I'm going to just call it score. And we're going to have that for all of our sprites there. Okay. So now you can see that that score is popped up there. And I'm going to drag that set score to 0, and I'm going to put that right when the game starts. So now when my game starts, if I collect one, oopsie, something did wrong there because the score is not going up. So where did we miss? Let's see. Oh, I know why. Okay, so we set the score to 0, but when I collect my points and I played the sound, then I also need to add in that I collect a point. So we have to change the score. So once the cat touches the butterfly, we're going to change the score by 1. All right, let's try that again. If I can get through these bats. Here we go. There we go. The score is going up now. Up. All right. Died there. All right, so we can add in a few more things just to make this maybe be a little bit harder. And if it gets too hard to do, I'm going to click on one of my bad guys. Doesn't matter which one. You might have more than 2. And what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to have him move a little bit faster. So I could have him move, instead of the number of steps, I can add in, might want to have him move my score level. So the higher my score goes up, the more he's going to move. So let's see what that will look like. So right now, this bat that I've just changed, he's going really slow because my score is only 1. Okay, now he's starting to speed up. But that might start to get hard really fast. So what I can add in as well is I can add another operator in. And I can change this so that he's going to move my score. Whoopsies. Okay, I want that score to go in that first bubble, divided by maybe 3. So he'll go up my score, but my score will get divided. So it'll go up, but not quite as fast as it would if I didn't have a divisor in there. And then I can try again. Right now he's not moving at all because I don't have a score. He'll start moving. He'll move slow until I get more points. Because keep in mind, it's dividing by 3. So right now, if I've got 9 divided by 3, he's only moving every 3 steps. Okay, so that's another thing that you can play around with. Let's see. We might want to make one that moves in a regular pattern. So right now this guy's moving in a random pattern. This one's pointing off in a set direction. I'm going to go ahead and copy this guy. I'm going to duplicate him, and I'm going to add a third bad guy in there. This guy, what he's going to do is I'm going to have two completely separate scripts for him. So I'm going to take out his the moving steps of this one. I want that one gone, and I want, trying to detach that, but there we go, and I want that one gone. Okay, this time I'm going to have 2 separate columns for when clicked. Okay, this time again you can set the size. You don't have to do this, but I like to change the size. Okay, I'm going to keep this one maybe at the, let's make this one 80%. Okay, you can play around the sizes later. Don't forget to wait to, that way if you get yourself cornered, it'll give you a chance to move your good guy out of the way for the game to start. So have it wait a little bit. And then we'll drag in our forever loop. Okay, inside our forever loop, again, if he touches the cat at all, the game's over. But another thing I want to have him do, I'm going to get rid of these guys, is this forever loop, I'm going to tell him to glide so that he has a nice motion of gliding. So let's find that one. Oh, there it is, glide. Okay, I might have him glide for 3 seconds. And you can change around as well as where your locations are. So maybe 0 to 150, and then he'll glide for 3 seconds in a different direction. Let's say 200, 100 on the y-axis. Let's throw a third one in there. Let's do another 3 seconds. And this time let's go the complete opposite. Instead of positive 200, we'll go to minus 200. All right, and let's see what that does now. Okay, so I've got all but one moving, which is right at my butterfly, which I need to collect. Oops. So my characters are my bad guys are a little big. I might want to play with the sizing or shrink my good guy down. Otherwise, I don't have a whole lot of room here to maneuver myself to get in between and collect my butterflies. It's a little bit hard. So once you got to this point, you can play around with the sizing and the directions and the speeds to see if it's too hard or too easy. Oh, okay. So there we go. You can play around with your backgrounds, change your backgrounds, and that. So that is basically your first game to play with and have fun changing around with sizing, speeds, characters, and you can change it. You don't have to have all the same bad guys. You can change different characters as well. And don't forget, you can add in other sounds. Maybe you want your bats to have sounds, your bad guys to have sounds as well. So you can go into your sounds and click on choose from the library. I don't know if there's a bat sound. What kind of sound does a bat make? It's a gong. There's a goose. Not very good for an animal. We can sort by characteristics and go to animals and see what kind we have. Not much for bats. Could be a chomp. So maybe I'll take the chomp. And I'll go back to my scripts here so I can see where it is. And then I will choose sound. And I can choose to play a sound of chomp. Oopsies, that didn't last long. So now I've got my bat making a song. But you notice he only did it once. So if I want him to do it all the time, I need to move it into the forever loop. So I'd have to detach it. Whoops, I guess I need to drag from the bottom, not the top, to detach them. So if I want him to chop all the time, it might get annoying, but we can see what it sounds like. I died before I got a chance to do anything. Okay, he's not chomping, so I might have it in the wrong one. So play around with those sounds and always drag from the bottom when you want to detach, because that seems to be the way it works in this one. Okay, thanks for watching. Don't forget to save and share so that we can all try your games. And one final thing, give your game a title. So let's call this one Eagle Bats. And then we can share it and we can try to play each other's games. All right, enjoy, and till next time.